Let's catch these rest of these Patriots on the other side of the intro. Here we go, folks. We are back here on the I70 and Coach Show. Here for the next 2 hours of time on Patriot Soapbox 24/7 live stream radio.
Yes, if you would like to join us, jump on Discord. The link is below, and you can, in just a few minutes, post about 8 things in our chat rooms or our memes or pictures, and we can get you bumped up to the first level. You can go into the pre-screening room where Sosha is hanging out. Thank goodness she does all our pre-screening. Make sure your mic is set to the right level and get you on in here.
All right. Who else do we got out there? All right, Laura Gold, how are you tonight? Mega Offensive says, put me in, coach. All right, come on in. Jump on in at Discord. Get online with it. Give some news from wherever you are in the world there.
Hey, you can double dog dare them, coach. It works.
What's that, sorry?
You can double dog dare them to call in. It works. Remember last week?
That's for sure. All right. Where's everybody in the world tonight? Why don't we do a little more roll call here and shout out to what state or country or, for example, let's see if there's anyone from over in Europe there, because we want to give a shout out to anyone who's had some good successes over in the European election and over in Britain. And definitely, if there's anyone from over in Australia, give us a heads up to what's going on over there. It sounds like there's some interesting stuff going there. All right, there's our first one there, Tammy Zenbelt from Canada. I think she's from over in Ontario on the other side of the country from me. Right.
Thailand.
Northeastern Thailand. Welcome.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Tennessee, another new Newfoundland, Canada, South Georgia. All right. Good evening, gentlemen, from Melanie Henderson. Shout out to you as well. Great to be here with you on your guys' Memorial Day. Here in Canada, we celebrated on another day, but I'm definitely here tonight to celebrate all the fallen warrior patriots out there, that's for sure. In Montana, USA. All right, from England there, Pam Dooling. Here we go. Yeah, Pam, give us a heads up going on what's out there. I saw some awesome video of the other day when May, after May gave her little sobbing, the country I love. Did you see what happened in the bars afterwards? I'll have to show that clip.
Man, them cheering, that was crazy.
Yeah, that was awesome. All right, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Wisconsin. A lot from Tennessee tonight. I'm seeing about 5 or 6 here in the last 10 or so to come down. All right, Central Oregon, another one from Seoul, South Korea, around the country, around the world.
Homesteader groupies.
We got what's going on from the People's Republic of California. Yes, on the front lines there, Patriot. Stand tall and strong, and
hang in there.
Pelosi out. Let's get what's her face there, Feinstein out. Isn't Swalwell there from there too? Get him out.
Yep.
You're fired. I'm seeing a lot of great Canadian patriots out there as well chiming in. We're going to have our piece of the pie here coming up in a few odd months, 6 or so in October, when we get to give the little punty-wunty out the door to Mr. Trudeau. I don't really think he has a chance unless Soros here has complete control of any of our voting system, because day by day there is more people becoming awake to his fake feminism and other things of such.
Yeah, hey, I brought Captain Liberty into the room here.
Right, great.
Yes, I'm the rebel rouser who's trying to start the first Canadian Revolution.
Yes, well, the biggest difficulty here is actually making people do anything. A lot of people, for example, I don't know, Captain Liberty, if you saw that video of over in Britain after May had stepped down and the celebration that people were having in the bars. Well, most of the time, I think here in Canada, if that went on and Trudeau actually was on the screen there in the bar and stepping down and that, the people would just be going, oh, still talking to their friends, barely paying attention, because that's honestly what a lot of people are, completely out of it in terms of geopolitics and what's going on in the world, which is unfortunate. But the ones that are definitely trying to make their move and bring more people awake. So that's a good thing.
Well, thanks to good folks like you, I'm hoping that process is being accelerated.
No doubt.
Here.
Yeah. So how are you, Captain Liberty? Did you have a good weekend? What's new on your front there?
Oh, yes. I spent some time outside today feeding my mosquitoes.
Oh, yeah.
No, you must understand, I own a very small farm. And my two principal products here is I grow weeds, not weed, but weeds.
Right.
And I tend to think of the mosquitoes as my livestock. I raise them for the meat.
Have they really come out strong here already this year? I haven't seen one where I'm at yet, so that's good. In fact, just saw in the last week or so, I saw the first real big bumblebees, which is good to see out there, searching away for some pollen.
Well, they've been running around looking for me for about the last month and a half, 2 months.
Month and a half, eh? Oh, wow. I'm trying to find it. Here it is there. In case people missed it, I will bring this up for us here in a second. I'm not sure if you caught that or not, Captain Liberty. There it is. So,
I heard you talking about Feinstein. That is when I came in. Isn't that the opposite of Einstein?
It definitely would be. See if folks can see my screen here.
Yep.
We've got. If people didn't see it on the weekend, we have May here on the big screen, and they're at a popular bar here, and she's just stepping down. Here's what happened. In case people didn't see, this is just great.
So I am today announcing that I will resign as leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party on Friday, the 7th of June.
Oh, if that's not a celebration of patriots.
Oh, it's party time in London. Actually, party time all over the island.
And here's another one while we're just on the topic of fun stuff here, guys. I'm not sure if you could see the screen here or not, Captain Liberty, but here, I'll play it here for us. This happened at the Indianapolis 500 on the weekend. Hear the announcer. Listen closely.
And make no mistake about it, this is the calm before the storm.
I'll play it once more. Oh, it doesn't want to let me. Well, that's okay. The announcer said, make no mistake about it, this is the calm before the storm. The Q-isms are being used all around the world, folks.
I think we'll be seeing more and more of that.
Indeed. All right. You want to jump into some Trump tweets, or what do you deep state tweets? What are you into?
Yeah, well, we're on the topic of tweets right now. I'm just on my Twitter threads here. I'll pull up another one for you guys to see. One sec. I thought was pretty interesting. I'd like to get your guys' opinion on this, Captain Liberty. So this is a clip that someone has got on their phone, and whoops, it is a clip of our Minister of environment and climate change. Okay, and she's at a pub in Newfoundland, out on the Rock, over the weekend, and this is what they caught her saying. Just make this larger for us.
You know, I actually gave them some real advice. I said that if you actually say it louder, we've learned in the House of Commons, if you repeat it, if you say it louder, if that is your talking point, people will totally believe it. So just go.
I'll just repeat that again so people can listen to it, because they might not caught it. But it's this coming from a minister in our House of Commons here.
You know, I actually gave them some real advice. I said that if you actually say it louder, we've learned in the House of Commons, if you repeat it, if you say it louder, if that is your talking point, people will totally believe it. So just go.
So basically, she's just saying, as long as she screams loud enough about how climate change is happening, and in fact, here in Canada, the world is dying in 12 years. As long as she screams loud enough, it doesn't have to be true. She just needs to yell it loud enough in the House of Commons, and people enough times, and people will believe it.
You have your own AOC.
Yeah, this lady is nut bar 6, if you ask me. Here's another on the topic of it here, actually. And where was it? I'll just find that again in my Twitter feed here. There it shows it. There it is. Okay. Share the screen once more. That I think this is right along the lines of what we just saw there, in terms of what the Minister of Environment and Climate Change of Canada was saying. And here is something that Amazing Polly tweeted out over the weekend here. Word of the day: obscurantism. Okay. And I looked it up over here on Wikipedia. It says, is the practice of deliberately presenting information in an imprecise and redundant manner, often designed to forestall further inquiry and understanding. And the other one up here was the practice of deliberately preventing the facts or full details of something from becoming known. Now, isn't that something that is very interesting? I've never heard that word before. In fact, maybe a lot of people out there have. But what a word that is being used so much right now, don't you think, Captain Liberty? What do you think about that?
When you looked it up, did it list liberal talking point as a synonym?
No, I did not. In fact, the historical goes back to, where was it here? In the 1500s is where, in the 16th century, is where they really started using it. It was based upon the intellectual dispute between the German humanists and monks. Yeah.
Let's see, 16th century.
The essential element of the black art of obscurantism is not that it wants to darken individual understanding, but that it wants to blacken our picture of the world and darken our idea of existence. I don't know. I just thought it was such a weird word and very interesting, because I think that's happening so often right now. And that basically up here in Canada, it's
sounds like someone was trying to shut the blinds on the Age of Enlightenment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah. Well, and yeah, and then just some of the other things that have been happening here. Whoops, I'll grab that share screen once more there. Sorry, I dropped it. That terms of our environmental Minister of Climate Change here, Manny Ottawa, and Amazing Polly have been bringing up a lot of things here in Canada to do with that. And here's an example of it. A few years ago, climate alarmists were saying droughts would be a result of global warming. So I'm confused. Does the absence of droughts disprove climate change? 91.16% U.S. no drought conditions, a record. This is the least drought since drought monitor data. And he pulls up this factoid here, which I thought was pretty neat. Proportion of U.S. land area not in drought. And you see that line there in red going over the years from 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 2019. There really has been no real change, right? But the world is ending in 12 years here. Yeah. Here's another one that Manny Ottawa says here, I think is good. Sorry, go ahead, I-70.
That was Captain.
Oh, sorry, Captain Liberty, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I almost stepped on what you were saying without realizing it. Occasionally, as you probably know, part of what you are saying gets clipped for those of us who have come in through Discord.
Ah, okay.
So I apologize in advance if I happen to step on you at an inappropriate time. It is not deliberate.
No problem, sir. We would never think so. Anyway, here's another one here from Manny Ottawa that I think is kind of cool. This is what this same Minister of Environment and Climate Change has been saying here, that icebergs off Newfoundland coast are very dangerous, sign of climate change. Okay. So basically, if there's icebergs off the coast of Newfoundland, which happens every year, folks, right? It's a sign of climate change. And if there's no icebergs, then there's also a sign of climate change, right? So what they've been trying to do is, in the House of Commons, they have been trying to declare a climate emergency, okay? But in the meantime, the same minister flies to Newfoundland to take iceberg photo with her in it, nice good little photo op. And here that Manny Ottawa says, why no one in media calling out this fraud? Oh man, so things here are just going, this is their spin, the big distraction right now from all of those scandals that went on with Trudeau and his cabinet, etc., is to now bring up this whole climate emergency and spin it within the mainstream media. That being that they own the mainstream media, being state media, paid for with $600 million of taxpayer money this last few months. And so this is what they're trying to do there. So Manny Ottawa is definitely bringing up a lot of factoids that are, I think, need to be spread around, retweeted, and people to be shared, because they're not going to be able to use this stuff during this election if we bring enough awareness to it beforehand.
What happened to the news about the 30,000 plus scientists who signed the petition, basically disavowing the climate change scam? I mean, we do have climate change, but I'm referring to human-induced climate change. Case in point, they are those who believe it's more related to solar activity and the solar cycles than it is to what human beings are doing. And of course, when you consider that one volcano the size of Mount Pinatubo during its maximum eruption phase can put out more pollutants, CO2, and hydrocarbons into the atmosphere in a week than all human activity has done in 100 years, is something to consider. And that's just one of, oh, good grief, I think several hundred active volcanoes on this planet.
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead there. Continue on. Sorry if I interrupted.
Well, that's quite all right. I was just going to say I am surprised that to this point we have not seen some brilliant legislator propose a law banning volcanoes.
Here right on your point there, Captain Liberty, I brought up here, if people can see here, back in the day, remember they said the seas are rising as doomsdaymers global warming cry, right? Here's a picture from 1925, and here's the shoreline. And here it is, 2017. The shoreline is the exact same size.
It looks more like the condos are rising.
The condos have been there, and that's it. It's the only changes, folks. The seawater are rising. I remember that, right? It's all a hoax. Here, in fact, again, they're trying to shut off all the oil and shut down coal, shut down all the different fossil fuel type of energies and minerals that we use here in Canada. And right above here is an example in Australia. They are opening up a coal mine the size of the UK. It is. New coal mine in Australia, 105 square miles. It's the size of Britain, is that. Cuba is only 106,000. So this is a huge, huge coal mine. This new prime minister in Australia is going the opposite way of the globalists in terms of this fake green energy, etc. That's not viable. See, and one of the bigger things that people aren't understanding as well, and obviously aren't talking about, I'm sure that Captain Liberty has knowledge about this, is that no one is talking about that the geoengineering and the stratospheric aerosol injection is actually dimming the Earth there. And those geoengineers are definitely not talking about that, right? That effect on the Earth.
Don't get me started on aerosol injection. That is a very sore point with me.
Soon it will.
I think it interesting, though, that they said that coal mine was the size of Great Britain. I mean, it lends a whole new meaning to bringing coal to Newcastle. I mean, good grief, you could put Newcastle inside that coal mine with space to spare.
Yes. Well, no, so my point also about the dimming of the Earth is that they're one side saying solar energy is the way that you need to go, but because of the dimming of the Earth, you're actually not achieving enough generation in those solar panels to actually run anything on a house. That's one of the biggest problems with solar energy right now. Just not enough sun coming through due to their dimming of it. So.
I live by an airport, and I was growing corn last year, and I started looking at the sky, and in the morning it was clear, and by about 9 o'clock, man, you couldn't see the sun. I'm like, they're really killing the farmers down here.
Yeah, they do it during the night as well, and during the day, depending on, to me, in my research, they obviously have their data that is showing.
I don't want to talk about it.
Temperatures and other things are up there. They're doing it. So let's get off of that.
All right, go.
Another day, folks, we will tackle that subject.
Please, because when I see those guys, I dream of having my own Stinger missile.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good thing it's only a dream, an alleged dream.
Yeah.
All righty.
Well, let's.
Have you heard from Dick Cheney any? Somebody mentioned his name, but I haven't. I know his daughter recently posted or talked a little bit on TV, but where's he been? Does he have Twitter?
Let's see here. I will type it in.
I'll stall if you type Twitter, Dick Cheney.
No,
probably be a parody.
Very evil man.
Yeah, doesn't have anyone out there, no.
Yeah, he's pretty old.
Yeah,
for Twitter. Ain't heard from him in a while.
No, I think we're down to the point here of the plan where we're tending to see the people that are screaming the loudest have the most to hide, right? A lot of people have stopped screaming.
And some people are just hiding.
Mm-hmm.
That expression actually in one form or another has been around for a long time. Even as a child, I remember my grandfather saying, "The guilty dog barks the loudest."
Yeah. Yeah, I think the one of the next ones to go down here and be more exposed, I think, is this Mr. Scowface Brennan here, who is continually doing a lot of the projection out there for the other team, the opposition team here. This one here, young people everywhere, please do not emulate Mr. Trump's very immature behavior. Find others of honesty, integrity, and decency to be your role models, and always try to do what you know is the right thing, even when doing what is right is both popular and difficult. Oh, Mr. Brennan.
At the very end of Freedom Rings, we touched on looking at the 1 year delta And it seems that Q, rather, oh, God, I'm getting my names crossed up here. Q posted a year ago on or around the 1st of June. He did not actually post on this date a year ago. So the closest we have on a 1-year delta was the post that said, boom, 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 boom. It looked like a pistol if you turn it upside down.
Right. Yeah, I've got that up there right now for people to see.
Excuse me.
A week to remember, dark to light, blackout necessary. Oh, very interesting. June 3rd, it came in on.
Well, one of the speculations was whether each boom stood for a person or each stood for an area of exposure. You know, like the D-class, or the buckets being declassified and distributed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you think? Do you think it stands for individuals or concepts?
Hard to say. And also at that same time, it's one of those ones that could be just disinformation in terms of those boom, 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 booms, just to expend some ammunition on the other side. Yeah. But I definitely, I'm interested to read there the blackout necessary, as they've talked about that a couple times, being a time of while potential things might be happening on the good side here, right?
Yep, I believe so. Well, hey, somebody in the live chat would like for us to check out Q Post 34.
I will do that right away. That's
on a flashback. We like to go back every now and then. Might as well go there, right?
Of course. Let's hit them out. Whatever live chat wants to check out. Let's check this out. Bring that up here. Q Post 34.
34 and 35. We'll do 34 first. Sorry, Laura.
That one was touched on as well during Freedom Rings.
All right. Bring it up a little larger here. It's a great one. Oops. Sorry there, folks. There we go. All right, I'll read it out here for us. Sorry, folks. So Q Post 34 came in November 1st, 2017. Q Clarence Patriot. My fellow Americans, over the course of the next several days, you will undoubtedly realize that we are taking back our great country, the land of the free, from the evil tyrants that wish to do us harm and destroy the last remaining refuge of shining light. On POTUS order, we have initiated certain fail-safes that shall safeguard the public from the primary fallout, which is slated to occur 11/3 upon the arrest announcement of Mr. Podesta, actionable 11/4. Confirmation to the public of what is occurring will then be revealed and will not be openly accepted. Public riots are being organized in serious numbers in an effort to prevent the arrest and capture of more senior public officials. On POTUS order, a state of temporary military control will be actioned and special ops carried out. False leaks have been made to retain several within the confines of the United States to prevent extradition and special operator necessity. Rest assured, the safety and well-being of every man, woman, and child of this country is being exhausted in full. However, the atmosphere within the country will unfortunately be divided as so many have fallen for the corrupt and evil narrative that has long been broadcast. We will be initiating the Emergency Broadcast System, EMS, during this time in an effort to provide a direct message, avoid the fake news to all citizens, organizations, and or people that wish to do us harm during this time will be met with swift fury. Certain laws have been pre-lifted to provide our great military the necessary authority to handle and conduct these operations at home and abroad. Oh, that's a great one.
I think that actually was there to serve more than one purpose.
Oh.
I think it served notice that they couldn't completely shut down all communication. It also served as a test, and it might have served as a "hey, don't try it" warning.
I agree. And the timings that are in there, I think are just for whatever they are, whenever the time is right. I think someone else wanted to point up a Q post 35.
Yes, sir.
Did you want to take this one, Captain Liberty?
Well, let me see if I can blow it up on my copy of QMap.
If you can't, no problem.
What's the date? What is the date on that one?
November 1st, 2017.
Okay, that would be, let's see, 11/21/17. For some reason, I must have mistyped. I have it on a very small screen, and it's difficult for me to read, so you might want to go ahead with that.
Yep. It's one of my favorite ones here. All right, so QPost 35 also came in November 1st. POTUS will be well insulated / protected on Air Force One and abroad, specific locations classified, while these operations are conducted due to the nature of the entrenchment. It is time to take back our country and make America great again. Let us salute and pray for the brave men and women in uniform who will undertake this assignment to bring forth peace, unity, and return power to the people. It is our hope that this message reaches enough people to make a meaningful impact. We cannot yet telegraph this message through normal methods for reasons I'm sure everyone here can understand. Follow the questions from the previous threads and remain calm. The primary targets are within DC and remain at the top on both sides. The spillover in the streets will be quickly shut down. Look for more false flags. Stay alert, be vigilant, and above all, please pray. And then quotes here, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that forever believes him shall not perish but have eternal life. Love is patient, love is kind. God bless my fellow Americans. 4/10/20." Which, for the people who are just fresh to the channel, in Gematria stands for DJT, the great Donald John Trump.
Yep. Good job, buddy. Thank you very much for reading through those.
It looks like Susie Oldham bringing their attention to POTUS Trump and the First Lady participating in the Memorial Day address aboard the USS Wasp. Oh, cool. That'd be pretty awesome.
I think that starts at 10 o'clock, doesn't it?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure.
Is that something that we can carry or not? Is it on the White House feed? I do not know.
I believe it is. I have a link.
We should check it out. Another here one I wanted to bring attention to us tonight here, folks, was Q Post 2816. All right, if I may, came in on February 19th, 2019. It says here, the declassification of all requested documents plus more will occur. This is not a game. Do not let personal, emotional desires do it now, what is taking so long now, take over. Logical thinking and strategy should always be applied. Game theory. We all want to see equal justice under the law. New threats, investigations by Southern District, New York, Adam Schiff, Maxine Waters, in an effort to delay / prevent release, insurance extension, as you may, will fail. Transparency is the only way forward. Define the following: treason, sedition, subversion, conspiracy to commit. Do you understand and fully appreciate the gravity of the situation? Do you understand and fully appreciate what POTUS endures each and every single day? He loves this country. He loves you. We must stand together in this fight. There is evil in this world. There is darkness in this world. There are those in power who wish to control, enslave you, to keep you sedated, to keep you unaware, to keep you blind. This will be on our timetable, and we will deliver transparency and prosecution. There is simply no other way except one. Q.
Yeah, that's a good one there.
Yeah.
The Southern District of New York investigations seem to have faded into the background, or am I wrong? At least in terms of the news cycle.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I haven't heard anything coming out of their mouths here recently. I don't know. Maybe live chat can bring us up to speed if there's anything that's been as of late.
Well, other than the threats to release tax information from the state of New York, I haven't heard anything about those investigations as such.
I would like to welcome Clarion into the room, please.
Hey, welcome, gents. How are you doing today? What a beautiful day it is.
Yes, it is. Happy Memorial Day, brother.
Yeah, happy Memorial Day. Hopefully you were able to take part in some Memorial Day observances. I did, and it was really wonderful this morning. Very touching.
Yep. It always is.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I was just talking to Sosa pre-screening, and, we just have such a deep bench, everyone involved with the soapbox. It's just such a awesome place, truly, where we can come and share ideas and be among patriots.
Yep.
Totally agree.
All right, Coach. Hey, I sent you a Twitter link. I think that might be the feed to the Trump speech or presentation when he comes on here in a little bit.
Let me see. I'll check this out if it's working while you guys are chit-chatting here.
That's fine. Thank you, sir.
I mean, his schedule has been so action-packed. I mean, first of all, they're about, what's the time delta like? Are they 14? What how many hours ahead are they?
It's almost 10. They're like right now it's 10:30 or 10:41 a.m. in Tokyo, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
And that's East Coast time.
Oh, that's East Coast time. Okay.
Yeah, so it would be it's almost 9 or 11 hours difference.
Yeah, so add 3 more on from where I'm at, but the point is they're well ahead of us, and he and Melania, they have been action packed with the press conferences and meetings and the summit. It's just really something to see how much or how engaged the president is, and meeting with the families, very touching. I watched it earlier today, meeting with the families with of their loved ones that have been abducted by North Korea, and I think we can connect the dots as to who controls North Korea, or who controlled past tense North Korea. I mean, because I never really thought of in terms of the all of the abductions they've had in Japan. It really is just heartbreaking. But our president, it's like one of the number one things on his Sino agenda, and it's just so great to see our president overseas as well, being a leader that he is, isn't it?
It is. Hey, Coach, RSBN is also carrying that, and they say about 15 minutes until it starts.
Okay, so if you want to grab that link for me too, if you can, throw it to me. On your point there, Clarion, I'm just going to grab the share screen here while you're looking for that I70. On your point there, I think one of the bigger things as well that happened so far while he's been in his busy schedule in Japan was this, and this is a tweet from Joe M., where he says Trump is the first leader to be honored in this way. Going to the first tweet here is tonight in Tokyo, Japan, at the Kujinokanyen Stadium. It was my great honor to present the first ever U.S. President's Cup to sumo grand champion Asasamiya. Congratulations, a great time had by all. Thank you, at Abe Shinzo. And to me, this is very important in terms of, first, this is a great honor, I think, that they've been taken on to the president. And here Joe M. says, Trump is the first leader to be honored this way, same when he dined in China's Forbidden City. First ever to be treated like a rock star by these countries. As the world flips from dark to light, from over here, we can see our president's gravity and significance. So,
yeah, there's no doubt about it. There is so much symbolism in a good way. With that President's Cup, that was something. And they mentioned the sumo match several different times. It's a high honor. And that cup itself, the Presidential Cup, man, that thing was probably about 4.5 feet tall.
70 pounds.
I was wondering how much it weighed. Yeah, because it looked really heavy.
And that's empty before the sumo wrestler fills it up with rice wine.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So altogether, I mean, very high honors, and being the first to be, with the new emperor, and it is really, it's a significant event, and I don't think we really are fully processing just how significant it is.
Right. I think we're underplaying it.
Yep.
Has anyone looked recently at the official presidential schedule to see if those blank days have been filled in?
I'm not sure, but we can definitely do that. Check that out. It's POTUS _45, I think. There it is.
I'm always wrong with my predictions, but I'm guessing that there may be a quote-unquote secret or previously unadvertised trip to China, as long as he's right there next door. And I've also speculated a little bit that, considering that Midway Island is pretty much dead center in the middle of the Pacific between the continental United States and Japan, and considering that the anniversary of the Battle of Midway is coming up, because Battle of Midway was June 4th through 6th, 1942. He may possibly make a stop there for an early commemoration of the Midway event on his way home.
That could very well be the case, but the official schedule is he's supposed to be wheels down at Andrews Joint Base on Tuesday at 2:15 Eastern.
Well, see there, I'm wrong again.
I'm not suggesting you're wrong, but, there probably is going to be some meeting. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some meeting, that took place in North Korea. I mean, this would be an opportune time to do that. And
when does he leave the country again? When's his next trip abroad?
Yeah, I can't find the POTUS schedule. I don't know if that Twitter account has been taken down or whatever, but I can't find it. Is someone else in live chat throw me that link for that if they're out there?
Pretty please.
Yeah. There's a spoof account, but there's not the one that has the blue check mark that you can usually find.
I believe officially his next travel was supposed to be to England for the D-Day commemoration. Am I correct in that guess?
I think you're right. They're making plans to meet the Queen, and he's supposed to be giving a speech there on D-Day, exactly.
So when is D-Day?
That was June 6th, 1944.
And I think wasn't that Operation Overlord?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I could.
And I believe he's going to be making the speech from, oh God, what's the name of the town? The English town that was the principal disembarkation point.
Is that the same where President Reagan made his speech, his famous speech?
May have been.
Fill me in, and maybe I am familiar, but I can't remember. What was the Operation Overlord? Overlord.
Yes. That was the Allied code name for the entire invasion.
On the beach, etc. Yes, okay.
Well, the beach, the airborne, everything that involved the invasion of Normandy.
Right.
Probably safe to tell the Canadians now.
Oh yeah, we were there.
I'm afraid it might leak if we did.
Yeah,
but they were there. They were there. Don't you? Who you kidding? Canadians. There's plenty of them there.
Yeah. In fact,
they were. Canadians went in on sword beat along with British.
Fact, hey, check this out, Captain.
Yeah, right here I have
on there.
Yeah, I have this right here is my one of my grandfather's journals from his first year in the war. If people can see there, it's all handwritten there, and the first date is November 23rd, 1942. And this is a daily diary that he wrote here during his account with the Canadian Royal Armed or Air Force. Yeah, very interesting stuff. Neat, very, very, very neat information in here. And yeah, just go back in time and read this. I do that every once in a while.
Man, if there was any way you could do it without exposing anything personal, it might be cool to scan all those pages and post it somewhere, like on Discord, where we could all get to it.
That's what I was thinking of doing. And actually, I was thinking about typing it out because, for example, my mother can read my grandfather's writing better than I can because it's very cursive, which obviously in these days and times, you know, I don't even think the students are being taught how to write in cursive, are they?
No.
Yeah, so it's very neat. So I thought if I type it all out here in regular type and then attach, and then as you say, Captain Liberty, scan all the cursive writing out here and then attach that to it so that people can easily read it with the written version or the typed out version. But very neat stuff. Maybe some days I'll go through some of it. You know, he talks about my grandmother and him. His name is Neil, and my grandmother's name is Ede. And obviously, this is prior to him going to overseas and then coming back and then having three daughters with my grandmother there. And then obviously they had grandchildren who I was, but very neat. They'll, you know, he'll get out on a 24-hour pass or something like that from the station. And he says, you know, that he hitchhikes over down to Montreal because he was over in Trenton, Ontario. And then they go to him and Ede go to a movie like the newest Humphrey Bogart movie for 16 cents each.
Wow.
Very neat. He puts awesome. He puts in here, you know, all these kinds of little prices that he paid for. You know, he went to a hotel, he paid 23 cents for it. Those days and times, it must have been big money, right?
Let me guess, popcorn was probably a nickel.
Yeah, I'll have to look through there now or get to that page and stuff, but that's pretty neat stuff. Yeah.
You know, a lot of people don't realize how much close coordination there was between Canada and the United States during the Second World War.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was, you know, the road that went across Canada to Alaska.
Right.
There was the Devil's Brigade, which was quite literally a joint venture between the U.S. Army and the Canadian Army. John Garand, who invented and developed the Garand rifle, which was the principal rifle carried by the U.S. Army and the Marine Corps during the Second World War. John Garand was Canadian.
I did not know that.
And the poem I read earlier on Freedom Rings, High Flight, was written by John Gillespie McGee, who did his flight training when he joined the RAF in 1940. He had joint American-British citizenship. And he did his flight training for the RAF in Canada.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
There were quite a number of RAF pilots that trained in Canada. And the very famous de Havilland Mosquito aircraft was even manufactured in Canada, as well as, of course, in England and in Australia.
Yeah, there's, around the world, there's been many brothers of arms, sisters of arms that have, taken up the fight. And yeah, the things that people have endured to let us have the freedoms that we have right now, it's amazing. And so many people out there in the world take it for granted of what patriots have to have endured over the years.
It really is something. I mean, our heritage, it really is something. And God's providential hand has been on this country. And yes, we've had wrongs that have happened, but this country has been there for other countries and promoting liberty and freedom. And it's also has exported so many people in the mission fields throughout the world. And so President Reagan, in the 40th anniversary of D-Day, made a speech in Normandy, France, at I think it's Point du Hoc. Point du Hoc. And that would be wonderful if we could play that speech, or at the very least read the transcript. I don't think it's more than a page long, but it was. I remember it's such a powerful speech. And President Reagan, I saw him years ago, obviously, but what a communicator and what a solid patriot. And now, fast forward all these years later, I mean, what a crucible he was in of sorts with Bush 41 at the helm of the vice presidency, among all of the deep state there ensconced. It really is something, if you look back, and our President Reagan, what he had to put up with, and probably not even really fully understanding it. So, but his speech at Normandy was epic.
For those of you who saw the movie The Longest Day, Point du Hoc was the area where the cliffs rose up, sheer cliffs rose up from the beach, a couple of 100 feet. And the invading troops had to scale those cliffs with grapples, ropes, and ladders. They had to get up there because it was believed that the Germans had quite a number of very large artillery cannon located at an overlook there that could command all of the beaches. When they actually got up to the top of the cliffs, they discovered that the guns were no longer there. They had been moved.
Yeah, the terrain there was just, I mean, if we just think about 2 seconds, right, when the amphibious, when those young men rolled off the Marines wave after wave and they were being picked off, my God, what our country has done to liberate Europe, it is beyond the pale. And if we could get that President Reagan's speech up, on, it's probably fair use. It is epic.
Don't we have a President Trump speech coming up very soon on the White House channel?
Yes, live in probably like 3 minutes. So we might have to wait till after.
No problem. Can you mention Captain Liberty, that movie again?
The Longest Day.
Was that like the Guns of Navarone with David Niven?
Well, Guns of Navarone also had Gregory Peck. The Longest Day, though, has every famous actor you can think of from the 60s in it.
Wow.
John Wayne, I mean, everybody.
That's cool.
And the only beef I ever had with that movie was that the only real mention they made of the 101st Airborne, they made the 101st Airborne soldiers look like a bunch of idiots. And only when you look at the final credits on the movie do you realize why. The airborne consultant for the film was a general from the 82nd Airborne.
Wow. Yeah. Both those divisions were badass divisions, man.
Absolutely. The 101st is stationed, of course, at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, more of which actually is in Tennessee than Kentucky, but the post office is in Kentucky.
We won't hold that against him.
Nope. Did you find the link there, Coach?
Yeah, well, I got the link pulled up for it. I'm just waiting for it to go live.
Yeah, you could. That could be 2 minutes to 30 minutes.
Yeah. In the meantime, here we can pull up some of these. Where we go there. There it is. If anyone has that link for that Reagan speech there, or whatever, definitely send it to me so that we can play that afterwards, per se. We have time. Just going to bring
I have a little personal tradition that every year on the 4th of June, the Battle of Midway was fought in 1942 between the 4th and 6th of June. So every year on the 4th of June, I have to watch that movie. And every year on the 6th of June, I watch The Longest Day. You know, one of those family tradition things.
Yeah, there's so many good movies out there depicting the war.
Just wanted to bring up a few of the things that President Trump has been partaking over in Japan there. In the meantime, here it is. President Trump attended the welcome ceremony at the Imperial Palace with Prime Minister Abe. And looks like a pretty neat event.
Abe. His name is pronounced Abe, if I'm not mistaken.
Thank you. I apologize for my mispronunciation there. Here's another great shot, I thought, of translate the tweet here. President Trump and Miss Melania attended an interview with the Emperor and Empress at POTUS and were at FOAS received by Their Majesties the Emperor and Empress of Japan. Very neat. Look at that shot of those soldiers there. Clean line. Pretty neat. I don't remember seeing Mr. Obama treated in that such way. In fact, I don't see Mr. Trudeau being invited to Japan at all, do I? There's a reason. There's some reasons why your president is being treated this way around the world, folks. Things have happened behind the scenes. I think, in terms of the plan, things have been accomplished that we don't know about. And I think part of this is them showing their respect to the person who has the lead, for lack of a better term, the leader of the free world, who has pretty much done everything in the last 2 years that he could possibly do. It's just amazing, guys.
Yesterday during one of the shows, and I wish I could remember which it was, they were showing some still shots from Japan, and it seems that there were some Q signs in among the crowd.
Oh, was there?
Surprised me.
Hey, what was I going to tell you? It's about ready to start, it looks like. And I was going to...
Duffy Montana says out there, Coach is clearly not a real Canadian since he had to be forced to use the A at the end. Well, I hope I don't use that too often. I try not to.
I've been working on him for about 9 months.
Yeah.
Well, I still haven't heard him call anybody a hoser yet.
That's right. The Bob and Kinsey brothers. Just that all the time.
Hey?
Let me check. It's
Oh, hey, I know what I was going to tell you, Clay.
okay.
Coach, sorry. There was a couple Trump tweets that since the last
Yeah,
show.
we've got time. I see it's not pulled up here yet on the live stream. Looks like it must be getting closer, though. There's more people that have tuned into it there. But yeah, let's go over some of these President Trump tweets of the day, in case there's some viewers to the channel that have just come about in the last hour. So here's one here at Ian Bremer now admits that he made up a completely ludicrous quote, attributing it to me. This is what's going on in the age of fake news. People think they can say anything and get away with it. Really, the libel laws should be changed to hold fake news media accountable. That's true.
That is true.
Any comments there, guys?
He speak 'em truth.
I second that motion.
Well, here is retweeting or making a comment here from Rona McDaniel from Rashida Tlaib continues to obsess over impeachment this morning. And President Trump says back, impeach for what? Having created perhaps the greatest economy in our country's history, rebuilding our military, taking care of our vets, choice, judges, best job numbers ever, and bringing peace to North Korea, bringing peace to Saudi Arabia, bringing peace to around the world. I could keep going on and on here, folks. This is ridiculous. But
that is nuts.
Well, he also, on that litany, should be, he built out Gitmo.
What was that? 200 million went to Gitmo there? Yeah.
I'm surprised as much as the liberals tend to use the principle of deflection that they haven't pointed their finger at Donald Trump and said, you're just jealous of us.
Well, they might get to that at some point. They're really running out of things, I think. I mean, the example of Jerry Nadler last week there is a pure example of, I think, what's going on with a lot of those people. Their blood pressure is through the roof right now in terms of trying to come up with something to prevent what's happening right now. And it's futile. They should have just gotten the plane ride and gone for a vacation for a month or so and enjoyed their time away, and then come on back and face what's coming their way. Because, I mean...
Well, the reason they're unsuccessful is very simple. They're splitting their energies between trying to criticize President Trump and, on the other hand, trying to figure out where it is that they are going to have to go run and hide.
No, I agree.
Yeah, and if you look at it, I mean, so the deep state's playbook is that so they have key people on point, right? Jerry or Representative Nadler being one of them, unfortunately, for us and actually for himself, because he is the one that has to be running interference, and no matter how outrageous, outlandish the position they may take is, he is right on point. So he has the pressure of, I mean, just look what they did to McMaster's father. I mean, this isn't a game. And these guys, and all I say to that is we will hold them in prayer. But, you know, the wages of sin is death, as we are intoned so often in Scripture. And so these people, they got their day in the sun. You know, they may have got a few extra bucks in their pocket in some offshore accounts and maybe been on the public dais for a while. But I tell you what, the wages of sin is death. And I say that they will be prosecuted. They will go to Gitmo because what they have done is treasonous. They know that, and it's got to be mentally exhausting for them to be constantly thinking about all of this and upholding an unrighteous position, as devious as they are. And they are probably exhausted, like you're saying, Captain Liberty, but I don't feel sorry for them one bit. And I just am so excited for justice to prevail.
Well, once the verdicts are handed down, their ill-gotten gains are, of course, going to be subject to forfeiture.
Yeah, all of it should be, shall it not? If it's not already being confiscated right now through that executive order on December 20th there, 2017, on corruption.
Yep.
Exactly. Apply to the national debt. That's why the president's not so concerned about a $20+ trillion national debt. When we repatriate the gold, when we move over to a metals-backed currency, when we have
add up the tariffs. Add up the tariffs.
Yep.
Yeah, that debt's false anyway. I don't even think we owe it.
Yeah, exactly. And that fact in itself, that's what it actually should be, a global reset in terms of all of the countries that have had to deal with these central bankers and any of the debt that is supposedly owed to these bankers. They're corrupt. We know they're criminals. We shall be still owed or to be paying back this interest. It's ridiculous.
Well, the answer is very simple. The so-called money that is represented by that debt was what? It was created out of thin air. It's not backed up by anything. So it is within the power of the government to create a special currency that is good only for interbanking transaction, and the government creates that money out of the same thing that the debt was created out of, thin air. So they pay them back thin air for thin air.
Right.
It just cancels it out. But I think that is what we're moving toward. I mean, it is such a fantastic time to be alive with the revelation of what, all the darkness to light and the, systems that have been in place, such as the central bank. It is going to change. And so their currency, the currency that they have absconded with, and the gold's been secured. That's why it's taken a couple years. And we're doing this with international partners. And also, we're going to be going into a new currency. So if they don't have the gold anymore, the deep state, and the currency is going to be shifted over, they're zeroed out. And so that's why it's taken, in my opinion, a couple years to get to this point where we are able to have redundancies in DOJ, FBI, and these agencies, as well as Congress. We still have a ways to go in Congress, but we needed to get things squared away, because when this go order, and they are moving forward with D-class, you had to have all the stuff in place. So we are right at the we're right at the tip of the spear here, and it's when it happens, it's going to be a glorious thing to behold. And I like the idea of debt relief, because the United States has become, with all the quantitative easing over the years, we hold the most treasuries. It used to be China, but that, I think, over the last 5 to 6 years, 6 years ago, maybe plus, we started purchasing. We, in other words, hold our own T-bills, treasuries. So we're essentially paying ourselves interest on those notes. And so I look forward to what's coming down the pike. I really do. It's an exciting time on multiple fronts.
Yeah, much of what we haven't seen could also explain why people such as the Rothschilds have been holding a yard sale.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm excited for the new currency too.
Yeah, we talked about it before in your show. I have to believe that's, Japan is a powerhouse financially. They had their problems in the 90s with real estate, or 80s, late 80s, but at any rate, so we're doing all the right things, and this president is, this is part of the plan too, securing these relationships. And I think there's a lot of saber rattling perhaps with North Korea, but the structure, he hasn't shot off any ballistic missiles or long range missiles or any, nuclear tests. I think it's a lot of saber rattling, and there's a lot of back channels, obviously. So everything is secure there. But it is just a wonderful time to be alive, to see where we're moving. And what do you guys think about, and what does Chat think about this week? Tomorrow will be Tuesday. What do we think we have in store this week?
Yeah, wow. It could be anything. Like you say, the plan is moving so well and so fluid. And there's so much information of truth still to be come out for us. Obviously, Anons have known what is set forth for us to be come out, but there's still so much to come out that it's just an exciting time. It's like, I don't know. It's a great feeling.
There has been so much meticulous planning go into this that, I mean, we're all basically, we're in a holding wait see pattern.
People in life.
Yeah, there's that feel.
Sorry, go ahead, Clearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to step in. I was agreeing. It really does have that feel to it. Wait, see, but we're right. Everything is ready to, the pilots, F-15s, F-18s, F-35s, whatever, they're all in the cockpit ready for the go orders.
Well,
metaphorically speaking, of course.
To your point earlier about the currency shift, one of the things I've been most curious about that I will love to eventually see is how many years and how much planning went into planning the transition from the old standard to the new, and how to do it as seamlessly as possible.
Yeah, on that note, and I don't have the source on me right now because I never thought of we'd be talking about it, Captain Liberty, but in my research, I do believe it was a bill set forth during Obama's time that has initialized the printing already of the gold standard bill. So they were kind of getting ahead of themselves in terms of what per se was going to happen worldwide. And that, I think, is within your newest printed $100 bills. You can see on one side of it has the Treasury note, the other half has a gold symbol. The ink blotter is in a gold. So anyways, that's my take on it. Let me find a sauce on that so we can talk about that one day, because that's very interesting to me, because it's on the point of what you're talking about in terms of rolling it out, that I think they would have to have gotten ahead of the game there, because you just can't decide to reset a currency or something like that and not have, the back end prepared, the logistics of it all prepared, right?
Yes, I've been also curious as to whether we will see an elimination of the Treasury or just simply a takeover of the Treasury. Oh, not the Treasury, pardon me, the Federal Reserve. Because the Federal Reserve presently is, a private bank.
Yeah, like for here in Canada, we have
eliminated or simply taken over.
Right. Sorry, I walked over you there, Captain Liberty.
I think the fact that it is a threat to the national security that he could just seize it if need be.
That's a good point.
I believe that we're going to see a doing away of the Federal Reserve to the extent that it's not held officially within the government. It cannot continue to be in the margin where the bankers can hold a government hostage or a certain president hostage over, plans that differ from what the Federal Reserve and the bankers want. So that is absolutely key, is to take out the Federal Reserve. And so they've been doing that behind the scenes, in my opinion. And, with the gold is key. We're going to go to likely a metals-backed currency, but they're not going to reopen the gold window, where, in other words, you can claim one for one with the dollars for gold, and we need to keep the gold as a backup to the currency. So, but I look at this and I am very hopeful that there will be debt relief, because this has really been a Ponzi scheme. When you look at how this, fractional banking system, and you look at just the whole Federal Reserve, it really is a Ponzi scheme where mathematically it is based on a collapse scenario. And they know that, the bad guys, the deep state. So it has to be baked into the cake and essentially the plan to take out the Federal Reserve. in my
Well, you
opinion.
just opened a another very large question. Will it be owned and controlled by the federal government of the United States, or will it be owned and controlled by the United States corporation?
Well, it has to be the form. Cannot be the United States corporation. We are essentially, every human being is considered as property, is considered as freaking chattel, and that is unacceptable. And we have to redo that. And it's shocking as to the system that they built up over the years, and just look at us as property.
Well, that would then imply a negation of the change that went down. Hope I got the year right. 1869, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is a move that is very the spectrum of things that are going to change. It has to all go back to the sovereignty of the United States of America. Period. Full stop.
What you're talking about there, Clarion, too, obviously is happening, and all the G7 and G20 countries have taken that system of corporations and all of the citizens being the collateral, the labor of work for the loans given to the bankers, such as myself being my name in all caps. But here's a question for you. If I'm an employee of a corporation, am I not just allowed to write expense reports to pay off what what I've expensed during my work entailed during the hours of corporation time?
I think they get away with calling that deductions.
I think one of the ways too we can grab easily control back is that you copyright your name, and therefore then you can send a cease and desist in terms of anybody using your name in all caps as part of a corporation. Something to think about.
I can say this, that the initial will, I mean, everybody eventually prepares a will. The initial will that I had prepared by a law firm had my name and all of the other names of those to whom I've designated my belongings as such in all capital letters. Well, in reworking my will, I have gone back and also written those names in using the normal spelling with a capital letter at the first of the name and lowercase letters afterwards,
right,
and designated those names as representing the same people but under common law.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, I've made the document so that it will still be valid even if there are changes made within the legal system.
Very interesting. Good on you on that. Yep. It's good thinking.
Yeah, not only are we considered, you mentioned collateral, but we're considered chattel. You can look that up. It's a French word, and it's basically, it's like property, right? It's like what they considered slaves and cattle. Chattel. They don't care about us. Okay, this system was designed to keep us in perpetuity in debt, and it's evil, and that is going to be that ship's going to be righted. And so that's why, I mean, you look at just our president and the plan, and what it goes from it's international, and it touches on every aspect of our government. It truly does. And it is going to change humanity. And on top of that, they're going to be declassing. And I believe that declass is going to be the catalyst to going in much deeper into basically the subject matter of what we talk about here, which the human mind is not designed to even contemplate all, what they're doing with the children, the child sacrifice, and all of this evil. But it's going to move into that direction too. But the point that it's going to, that's going to basically start all this, unravel all this, is D-class, and I think we're right there.
Well, what you described initially was also almost by definition a form of indentured slavery.
That's exactly what it is. You know, it's exactly what it is. We live in a matrix illusion where we have these rights, and they have manipulated, and it goes into so many, areas that we would never believe, the quote unquote venerable areas such as the Vatican to, a lot of us over the years have now realized the evil that has been, perpetuated by the Vatican. Not to say, there are some very, very good Catholic churches and parishes that are on fire with the Holy Spirit, but the leadership is completely at the upper levels is corrupt. And so all of this is coming out, and it's going to be overwhelming to many, and that's why Patriot Soapbox is such a treasure to have this space here where we can, like-minded folks, not that we're all in groupthink, but we can, share ideas.
Well, we are not the only people in our generation who've been aware of some of these things. Even hearing my grandfather speak of such things as their county fair had or used to have a liars contest every year. And it was open to everyone except for politicians and lawyers, because they said the competition should only be open to amateurs.
That's classic.
I like it.
Yeah, but there's truth rings in that, though. So I was thinking, earlier when I was listening to you, Captain Liberty, I would imagine Chat would agree that it is so neat. That's not even the right word. Encouraging, exciting to be able to have this family. It truly is really a global family, global in every good way of using that word. Global movement, global family, where people can just listen or participate, call in, write, chat. It is just an amazing, wonderful outlet that is so needed, and I'm just so grateful to Pam and Radix that they stepped up, because we have no idea what goes on behind the scenes and the stress that they have trying to deal with all of this, and they're being under attack too, with constantly people trying to dox them and all that. But yeah, it's just such a cool thing to have this channel in our lives, listening to in all of their ideas and insights. It's so important.
Well, earlier today, we all tried to remind Pam, who seemed to be a bit tired and down, that we're all here, we're all part of a family, and we have their backs.
Yeah, we do. Even if there's things that go off the rails from time to time, hey, that's what happens in a family. But you know what? Everyone, basically jumps into action. We do have PSB 24/7's back. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And we can have a little fun along the way too. That's why I DM'd you what I DM'd you I70 today. You caught that.
Awesome.
We can't ever forget to laugh.
That's right. So what is Chat saying out there?
Chat is having
POTUS is about ready. Oh, sorry, Clay.
Go ahead.
Chat is saying POTUS is about ready.
Nice.
Yeah, well, if I can, you're talking about, the channel and everything, and it's a long season, 24/7, 365 days of the year. You think of alluding that to, sports, for example, and in fact, I don't know if anybody else watches basketball out there, but that's my sport and the one that I used to coach and play in. But so the Toronto Raptors are now in the finals of the NBA for the first time ever, so that's cool. But what I was going to bring is the fact that in an 82 games season, there's in each game there's, for example, about 100 offensive plays and 100 defensive plays that happens in that. So if you times all that together with all of those games played, imagine all the different offensive strategies and defensive strategies that have to take forth. And I think I can allude that to the compare that to the plan and how it's going forth here. Just a very intricate, interesting thing that's happening. It looks like we have got POTUS on live here now, guys.
Go ahead and play it up.
I will bring that up.
And we are thankful for the incredible.
There we go. Sorry, I just need to share the screen.
That we have received. Back in November,
I visited the USS George H.
This is a tough bunch of people, right? That's very good.
Oh.
And I want to thank you, Melania. You've been really the talk of Japan. They're not covering me. I'm a little bit upset with her right now. Now, they love you in Japan, honey, and we appreciate it very much. Really works very hard. They love our First Lady, and they love our First Lady back home. I want to just tell everyone before we even begin, at ease, just relax. We have plenty of time. Plenty of time. We're going to have a little fun. And I'm thrilled to be aboard the USS Wasp with the brave sailors and Marines, the 7th Fleet. Special, special people. Thank you very much. Great job. Thank you. And I have to wish you all a very happy Memorial Day, right? Memorial Day, very special back home. And I always like to be back in the U.S. as you do for that day, but we did a lot of great things for the last 3 days in Japan. So we're working together. You're working, I'm working, we're all working together. As president, I have no higher honor than...
Stream pulled up here for us. Just going to pull that into the system here. Oops.
Alrighty. We'll stand by. Technical difficulty for 10 seconds. Good to go. I see it.
And I have to wish you all a very happy Memorial Day, right? Memorial Day, very special back home. And I always like to be back in the U.S. as you do for that day, but we did a lot of great things for the last 3 days in Japan. So we're working together. You're working, I'm working, we're all working together. As president, I have no higher honor than serving as your commander-in-chief and the extraordinary men and women of the American Armed Forces. This has been a truly amazing and unforgettable visit to Japan. Melania and I are profoundly grateful to their majesties, the new Emperor and Empress, and the great honor of being their first state guests. That was a big honor for our country. We're also deeply thankful to our cherished friends and treasured partners, Prime Minister and Mrs. Abe. Very, very great people. Our thanks as well to Ambassador Haggerty and his wife, Chrissy. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you, Chrissy. Thank you very much. Great job you're doing. Today, we're proud to be joined by the many outstanding military leaders. We have a lot. These are very incredible ones. I especially want to thank Commanding Officer of USS Wasp, Captain Christopher Herr. They like you, Christopher. They like you a lot. That's very good, Christopher. And the Command Master Chief, Kevin Guy. Popular people. That's great. Wow. Great leaders. My thanks as well to Lieutenant General Kevin Schneider, Commander of the U.S. Forces Japan. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. Vice Admiral Phil Sawyer, Commander of the U.S. 7th Fleet. And you know, they're all such good-looking people. You have all this media over here. They're going to end up in Hollywood. They're going to leave us. Some of them will be picked for Hollywood, right? And they won't do it. They like this better, and I agree. Rear Admiral Gregory Fenton, Commander of the United States Naval Force, Japan. Thank you. Thank you, Gregory. Thank you. Great. Rear Admiral James Pitts, Commander of the Submarine Group 7. And you know, we're doing a lot of big submarines right now. We're building a lot of them. I'll tell you, the best in the world. Not even a contest, right? It's really something. I just saw plans for one that they're no longer the little submarines that we think about. These are incredible machines, right? Thank you very much. Brigadier General Todd Dozier, Deputy Commander of the 5th Air Force. Todd. Thank you, Todd. Rear Admiral Fred Kacher, Commander of Task Force 76. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Great leaders. Captain Jim McGovern, Commander of the Amphibious Squadron 11, and Captain Jeffrey Kim, Commander of Fleet Activities, right here. Thank you very much. Thank you. Great. Together, these officers are leading the most fearsome group of American warriors this side of the Pacific. We have more than 1,000 sailors and Marines from the 7th Fleet here today, including hundreds who serve on this impressive assault ship, USS Wasp. Also joining us are sailors from the following ships: USS Shiloh, USS Chancellorsville, USS Mustin, USS Barry. You love those ships, don't you? USS McCampbell, USS Benford. Thank you, fellas. That's great. Great pride. Finally, I want to recognize our many shore-based commands here today, including large contingents from Navy Region Japan. Thank you very much. We like it. We like it. The Fleet Anti-Terrorism Security Team. The Naval Intelligence Operations Center. Fleet Logistics Center, Yokosuka. The Ship Repair Facility. I'll bet you guys do a good job. Do they do a good job with the ships, right? Repairing them, huh? So then let me ask you a question. Catapult, right? The catapult system. Do you like electric or steam? Steam. Who said electric? There's one guy back there. Okay, I really need this information because, you know, we're building carriers. We're building one. They're using an electric catapult and an electric elevator. Number one, I can't imagine in the case of battle, it must be very delicate. Okay? And, you know, steam's only worked for about 65 years perfectly. And I won't tell you this because it's before my time by a little bit, but they have a $900 million cost overrun on this crazy electric catapult. I said, what was wrong with steam? I would like to know, all of the folks that know exactly what I'm talking about, the catapult system, steam or electric? Ready? Steam. Electric. He works for the enemy. He's all right. Well, you might be in danger. I better be careful. No, we want to go with steam. You know, they're always coming up with new ideas. They're making planes so complex you can't fly them. You know that. No, I admit, they want to show next. And we all want innovation, but it's too much. But there's never been anything like the steam catapults. And I went to the Gerald Ford, which is under construction now for a long time. They're having a problem with their electric catapult. And I was talking to the catapult people, and they said, steam. In the meantime, we're spending all that money on electric, and nobody knows what it's going to be like in bad conditions. You understand? So I think I'm going to put an order. When we build a new aircraft carrier, we're going to use steam. I'm going to just put out an order. We're going to use steam. We don't need that extra speed. You know, they were saying, one of the folks said, no, the electric works faster. But, sir, we can only get the plane there every couple of minutes. So really, what they did was wrong. And we make mistakes, but generally speaking, we get it right. But when we make them, we have to correct them. So we're going to put out an order. We want to use steam. The military doctors and nurses from the U.S. Naval Hospital, Yokosuka, and many more. So many people, so many great, great people. Every Marine and sailor standing on USS Wasp is the face of American strength and power in the Pacific. The 7th Fleet is America's largest forward deployed naval fleet. Together, you are 70 ships and submarines strong with 140 aircraft and 40,000 of America's finest sailors and Marines. Did you know that about yourselves? Not bad. It's very impressive. With us today is Marine Staff Sergeant Daniel Patterson. Where's Daniel? Where's Daniel? Get over here, Daniel. Tough-looking guy. Every single generation of Staff Sergeant Patterson's family has served in the United States military all the way back to the Revolutionary War. But Staff Sergeant Patterson was the first to choose the Marines. After completing 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan, Staff Sergeant Patterson requested another overseas tour, this time wanted to go to Japan. He knows that America needs, and what they need is daring and mighty warriors in the Pacific, and he's a daring and mighty warrior. Staff Sergeant Patterson, today, you and your fellow Marines and sailors of 7th Fleet are confronting this region's pressing security challenges with unmatched courage and valor. You know what's going on. You know where we're talking. You know what we're talking about. We really appreciate your being here. Daniel, I'm going to do something that you didn't expect. Say a few words, Daniel.
Hey, well, it's such an honor and privilege to be here with you, Mr. President, and I definitely didn't expect this. And it's an honor and privilege to serve with my fellow sailors and Marines and drive our mission forward that General Smith and the Commodore and Colonel Brody has kind of laid out for us. We know why we're here, and we know what we need, who we need to aggress, because if we don't, we let ourselves just sleep on it for even a second, then we won't be the ultimate power in the world. So thank you very much, and thank all of you.
Good job, Daniel. He'll be running for political office within 2 weeks. Look. Daniel, great. Thank you very much. Great job. Every day, the men and women of the 7th Fleet live out their motto, ready power for peace. You face down terrorism and render aid in the wake of devastating natural disasters, and I've seen what you do. Incredible. You proudly patrol the Yellow Sea, the Sea of Japan, the East China Sea, and the South China Sea. You defend your homeland and our allies against missile attack with our most advanced radar and weapon systems in the world. We have equipment, missiles, rockets, tanks, planes, ships. Nobody in the entire world can build them like we do. Nobody. It's not even close. You know that better than anybody. Here in the Pacific and around the globe, we want our armed forces to have the tools, resources, and equipment you need and that you deserve. That's why we have given our 7th Fleet new American-made F-35B Marine fighter aircraft. Very stealthy, you know that, right? The enemy has a problem with it. You know what the problem is? They can't see it. Other than that, it's a fair fight. Just like my one and this one right here, that just came out. Beautiful. Last year, USS Wasp made history when it became the very first ship to deploy these cutting-edge aircraft. I want to congratulate you all, and you're getting a lot of brand new ones. We're getting brand new equipment. You know, when I came 2.5 years ago, we had planes that were so old they didn't make parts for them anymore. You don't have that anymore. You don't have that. We're getting all new, beautiful equipment. We need it. We need it. Peace through strength, right? In April, USS Wasp also became the first ship to deploy F-35Bs in the Bali-Cantan naval exercise with the Philippines and with Australia. Later this year, the USS Wasp returns home. We will be sending the men and women of the 7th Fleet, our most formidable amphibious assault ship, USS America. USS America will soon be sailing these Pacific waters, and I'm pleased to say that she will also be carrying the most beautiful F-35Bs on her deck. Brand new. Brand new. My administration is committed to ensuring that America's military strength forever remains second to none. Over the past 2 years, we have made historic investments in our military with $700 billion. Right, General? That's billions, right? No more millions, not when it comes to our military. It's a little bit scary with a B. Scary. You know, it used to be millions, now it's billions, and that's the way it has to be, because we have to protect our country, we have to protect our allies. And last year, $716 billion. So this year we're going up, and in a very short period of time, our military will be completely rebuilt and stronger, bigger, better than ever before. Won't even be close. And we're very close. And when I took over, we were very depleted, and you people knew that better than anybody. We were depleted. It's the only word I can use to describe it. It was not a good situation. But we're going to be very close. Right now, we're very close. Very shortly, we're going to be at a level the likes of which we've never been before. This includes money for 5 new guided missile destroyers, 4 new nuclear-powered fast attack submarines. That's the one you want? Okay, we got them. We got 4 of them. You only wanted 1, we got you 4. And 163 brand new F-35 Joint Strike Fighter jets. As Prime Minister Abe and I discussed yesterday, Japan also plans to equip the Japanese self-defense forces with 105 F-35 aircraft, which would make Japan's F-35 fleet the largest of any U.S. ally. The U.S.-Japan alliance has never been stronger. The relationship between your president and the Prime Minister of Japan, he's a great gentleman, great man, is a fantastic one. This remarkable port is the only one in the world where we're American naval fleet and an allied naval fleet headquartered side by side, a testament to the ironclad partnership between U.S. and Japanese forces. Together, you're advancing freedom on the high seas, shielding our nation from dangerous weapons, and preserving the peace that generations of valiant American warriors gave their lives to secure. One of those intrepid Americans was Private First Class John Schaefer. Born and raised in Tower City, Pennsylvania, Private Schaefer was a member of a group of U.S. Army Special Forces who fought in the Pacific during World War II under the legendary command of General Frank Merrill. Good general? Good general? Pretty good, right? That's what they say. Are you better? Just be as good. Although Private Schaefer sadly perished in the Battle of Burma, his deep love of country endures in someone very special with us today. His grandnephew, Senior Chief Petty Officer, Daniel Schaefer. Where's Daniel? Should I get him up? And I want to thank you very much for the incredible job you've done. We picked a couple of people that are outstanding. Please say a couple of words. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is amazing. You got to recognize my family, but I know a lot of others have families that served as well. Memorial Day is that time where we honor our fellow Americans who paid the ultimate sacrifice. So, thank you for all my shipmates and fellow Marines that are out here today. It's a great day. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Two great jobs, and that's not easy. They don't know they're coming up. You didn't know, did you? Huh? You had no idea, and you both did it. They didn't choke. We don't like chokers, do we? We don't like chokers. We don't like chokers. On this Memorial Day evening in the United States, Americans are concluding a sacred day of remembrance, reflection, and prayer. Citizens all across the country came together to decorate the graves of our fallen heroes and to honor their selfless acts of courage. The citizens of our country are incredible. They love our country, and they love you. They love you. You have no idea how much they love you. Down through history, from America's earliest days, fearless Americans have said goodbye to their loved ones, gone off to war, and stared down our enemies, knowing that they may never, ever return. Memorial Day links every grateful American heart in eternal tribute to those brave souls who gave their last breath for our nation. From Concord to Gettysburg, from Midway to Mosul. Today, the unbreakable resolve of these heroes lives on in every American who wears our great uniform. Each day that you serve on these rolling but beautiful seas, you honor their sacrifice, you carry on their righteous duty, and you continue their noble legacy. Our republic endures because of brave men and women who are willing to lay down their lives to defend us all. Our freedom is earned through the blood and sweat and toil and sacrifice of great American patriots just like you. As we honor America's fallen warriors, we pledge our unwavering devotion to all of those who serve our nation in uniform. Throughout this region, from Yokosuka to Guam to Singapore to Okinawa to Boshan, the 7th Fleet is holding the line and defending the peace. Among the sailors and Marines, the USS Wasp, you serve as warfare officers, naval aviators, Marine riflemen, air crewmen, corpsmen, machinist mates, avionics tech. Go ahead, you can do it. Ordnance technicians. Okay. Where are the avionics guys and gals? Huh? Right there? Good. That's complicated business, right? Got to be pretty good. Cooks, fire control men and women, intelligence specialists. Who are the intelligence specialists? Good, great, great. You know that, great. Nurses and engineers. Nearly every specialty in our 7th Fleet is represented on the ship today. You are the strongest, toughest, best, and bravest. Do you agree with that? You better. You are the ones keep going and striving and keeping America safe and strong and proud and free. You defend our freedom, our families, and you defend our great American flag. You show the world the force of American might and American heart, and you prove across these perilous waters and far beyond that there is no match on earth for the awesome power and glory of the American Navy and the United States Marines. To the men and women of America's 7th Fleet, the First Lady and I have been deeply honored to be with you all today. On behalf of all Americans, we thank you, we salute you, we honor you, we cherish you, and we stand with you now and forever. Thank you to the proud sailors and Marines of USS Wasp. God bless you. God bless our military. And God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much.
All right.
All right. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah. That was neat to see. So that was
still... Yeah, Captain Liberty and Clarion, are you still with us?
Roger that.
Still with you.
We got about 5 minutes before Chris's show is on. So if you guys have any last comments about the speech there, feel free.
Well, one thing I can say, I remember hearing back in January, and that is that the wreckage of the first carrier named USS Wasp, it was sunk off Guadalcanal in 1942, I think September of 1942, sunk by a Japanese submarine while flying support and delivering aircraft to Guadalcanal. But the wreckage of the ship was found, and I think it interesting that without having been found this year and as historically significant as that name is among U.S. carriers, that he would choose the Wasp, the new one, to deliver this particular speech. So, you know, there is a historical tie there.
Very neat.
I liked the speech. I thought it was, just quintessential President Trump bringing people up on stage to speak. I mean, what a thrill. What a thrill to be speaking at the presidential podium with the presidential seal, with the president at your side. What a thrill. And that's how our president, essentially, that's his style. He is a friend of just the common Joe, just a common American. And, the 7th Fleet is my gosh, you look it up, but 7th Fleet is such a show of power and force. And I like the fact that he was on the Wasp. I like the fact that he had the yellow tie, looked sharp. So we are projecting force. We're projecting force. We're absolutely underscore, highlight, exclamate, projecting force. So I just, as we maybe touched on earlier in the show before the speech, there's so many symbols. There's so many things that this meeting with summit meeting with President Abe with Japan, it is a deep meaning, and I don't think we quite fully realize it. but Japan is such a strong ally of ours, and to have our president over in Japan right around Memorial Day and then speaking at the 7th Fleet is something fantastic to see and hear, and we have a big week coming up in front of us. And so I just thank you for all that you do, you two on your show, I70 and Coach Clay, and Pam and Radex again for continually stepping up and allowing us to have this platform. And so God bless the United States this Memorial Day, and God bless POTUS, and I continue to declare and decree Psalm 91 and the angels over him. Thank you guys, and have a great evening.
Thank you, Clarion. Thank you, Clarion. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, 70. I really appreciate you guys. And thank you, Chat. Always thank you, Chat. And I hope everyone has an absolutely wonderful rest of what is left of this Memorial Day. And my prayers are with all of you. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm going to get off here because there's been a tornado spotted in the area, and it's probably time to see what's going on. So I'm going to get safe. Yeah. I'll talk to y'all later. Hey, take care, Chris. Thanks, Coach.
Throw me a text there, I70. Let me know how things are going over there.
Will do, buddy.